How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's been a really, really miraculous day. I'm actually in Colorado, as you know,
Hmm.
um, visiting family, and it's been a couple years since I've really had an opportunity to just basically just integrate all that has been going on from being in Los Angeles and all of the practices and teachings that and events and groups and everything that we're a part of. It's been really wonderful actually to be able to come home and integrate on one level a lot of what we've received through all of that's available to us, and on another level, just completely let it go. So
Hmm.
it's been creating miracles. It's been wonderful to just be home for a little before heading back after the holidays, and yeah, it's been great. Where are you? You're in LA?
Yeah, I'm at my little pad in LA here. I just wanted to say I totally relate to what you just said about, going out and having all these experiences and then when you go home, it's like or when you're with family, it's like the ultimate test in a way, and there's this awesome quote by Ram Dass which says if you think you're enlightened, go spend a week with your family. And I absolutely love that because I just think it's so true. Like, family will push your buttons and like they're the ultimate bullshit meter. Like, as far as like you think you
Hmm.
know, or you think you've got like peace down, and then like your mother says something to you, or one of your siblings, and like you're just like, oh, that like all goes out the window. Like I've literally come out of my room like in the total peace and stillness of meditation, and then had like an interaction with like
Oh,
one of my brothers that like instantly just took me to, like or something. So
yeah.
I get it.
Well, I just want to just say thank you for being here. You are such a love. I just adore you. And I just want to share, I guess, just what has brought us here, like our
Yeah.
a little brief history of our connection. And actually, maybe you can remind me. I'm not sure if I do always remember seeing your blogs on the Daily Love. But what actually brought us into connection?
Yeah.
Like,
I think
was it?
I think I think there was some online interaction like Facebook that maybe or through like the blogs, and then I definitely remember after that had been going on for a little while, we met. I was visiting LA. You had just moved to LA, and we met at a party. And
Yes. Okay.
you were fully in the space of like just having moved here, like totally like wide-eyed, like in that whole world, just like spinning a little bit. And what was funny
Hmm.
was like, so when are you moving here? You kept saying to me, you were like, when are you moving here? And I'm like, what's this girl talking about? Like, I'm not moving here. Like, I'm just visiting. I was not ready to like really take that on at that time.
Yeah.
Here I am. Now I'm living in LA, and it was like you were the first to know. I was the last to find out.
That's so funny. Yeah, I instantly when I saw you, I was like, he belongs to, I mean, you travel all over the world and it's like you have so many homes everywhere and I just knew that there was just something that came through me that just felt like you were one of your homes was Los Angeles. So I'm so glad it is. And since then we've had an opportunity to connect here and there and I just wanted to share um, the significance of even though we haven't connected a ton per se, face to face.
Yeah.
All of our interactions have been extremely significant and powerful for me. Just in your willingness and your ability to just meet with an open heart, like truly just this beautiful heart that instantly when I connect to you, I just feel this family, like we're family, like we have known each other for so long. And what really sticks out for me was when we were at Preston's house for his gathering, just kind of a meeting of the minds of just some really committed individuals in the Los Angeles community. And we were doing, you started kind of a musical, you started singing with your guitar and just started doing kind of, what would you call it? Just a,
Well, first of all, thank you for what you just
yeah.
shared. That really touches me, and definitely feel very much like I can be in my heart when I'm in your presence as well, because
Mm.
you're always coming from that space as well. So I just want to reflect that back to you also. And yeah, we're at Preston's, who you introduced me to, and who has become like a dear brother to me. So that's something I also just want to acknowledge, that you have this amazing capacity for just bringing people together and connecting dots.
Mm.
And you were like, oh, this is somebody you should really meet. And since that first meeting, we've just totally become like brothers. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were at his house and we were just jamming. I just busted the guitar out and just started just jamming on a little tune, as I like to do, and try to get everyone involved.
Yes. And so then everybody started getting involved. And
Mhm.
for me, it was like, oh, this is so amazing. Watching all these people just in their creative voice and expression just come up with lyrics and rhymes and just be able to just flow with the music and the vibe. And I'm just like, yeah, everyone's so amazing. And then Chris, you were like, Andrea, your turn. And I just, no, 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 I'm good. And then, a couple other people kind of joined in and said their few rhymes. And then you'd say, okay, Andrea, let's go. And I was in total resistance for basically the whole time, until I got to be the last person to join in on this musical go-around that everyone was in. And I was feeling so much fear. And the thing that really stuck out for me was, in our circle, you were next to me. There were a couple of people in between us. And so we weren't exactly face to face or facing each other at all. But I was feeling your presence so strongly the whole time. Like every time I was
Mhm.
saying no, I could just feel you right there, like, this guy is not going to give up on me no matter what. Like, we will be here all night if we have to be, and he is going to
Mhm.
wait for me to stretch myself and to feel myself move through the fear and the obstacles of what I was feeling in that moment. And it was so powerful, because then I finally just, I don't even know what I said, but I finally just let something through, and I felt so grateful that you were willing to just be so present and stand so powerfully and strongly for me and my voice. And that's
Mhm.
a huge deal for me, because my whole life growing up, I actually have had this huge fear of using my voice, of
Mhm.
expression. I just remember in middle school having to do a public speaking presentation, and I thought these boys were laughing at me. I mean, who knows what they were doing? They probably weren't even laughing at me, but basically from that moment on, I decided that I should never, ever speak in front of people ever again. Um,
Yeah.
and I've always admired singers and always wished that I could sing. And I've always just felt this huge block in
Mhm.
like my throat chakra area, and this fear and these just so uncomfortable, where I never even thought that I could get to this place, even of even having a live chat as we are right now.
And
So
look at you go.
I have come some way, but there's still definitely a lot comes up for me when it comes to um, my voice,
Yeah.
and just really being able to use the full capacity of what it's there for. So, yeah, so I had experienced, even just in that moment, just what it mean, like what that fear actually was.
I know that This is so common, and essentially I hear the same thing in what you said, which is, everyone went around and everyone, and so all of a sudden we get into
Mm,
this mode of comparison where it's like, well, if I can't like kill it, or if I can't be like a superstar, then I'm better off to stay quiet.
right.
And again, it does go back usually to some experience when we were younger, when we had no chance at being amazing because we were probably using our voice for the first or second time or something, and someone laughed at us, or someone told us to, not quit our day job, or to, that
Right.
that wasn't our strength. And then we made a decision to just like not use our voice and not, express ourselves in that way. And I see this all the time, and this is what I live for, because if I, my purpose as far as someone who discovered their creativity later on in life and really got that that's a huge access point to a deeper part of connection with myself and a deeper level of healing, I want that for everyone. And so what you experienced that night was, it's not like, oh, I put you on the spot, but it's because I could feel it's painful. It's painful to
Mm,
not speak your truth, use your voice, express. It's like keeping your heart closed in a way, right? And we can talk about that a little bit more because we've been kind of connecting those dots.
mhm.
But the point is, it's not really about sounding good. I mean, that's one way of looking at it and doing it, but it's actually about what it creates for the person who's sharing and who's using their voice. And a friend of mine by the name of Darren Austin Hall, he's a very talented musician and sound healer, and he shared with me the articulation of what I had intuitively been discovering, which is that when we use our voices, it creates healing in our bodies. It creates healing for us. And
Mhm.
specifically, each person's voice is attuned to their own body. So we each have this God-given instrument that when we use it, regardless of how skillfully or how masterfully, just by virtue of the choice to use it, those sounds and vibrations are creating healing in our bodies, are creating healing for us. So, I mean, what more reason could anyone possibly need than just that, to give themselves permission to just use their voice? So it's kind of one of those things where we're looking at a very specific aspect of expression, but it's really a microcosm for something
Mm,
much greater. So my personal belief and sort of experience is that creativity and spirituality are one and the same thing. They're at least very deeply intertwined. So as human beings living on this planet, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and one of the greatest gifts that we have is that we get to co-create our lives. We get to make things. We get to be, active and have these bodies that allow us to build things and interact with one another. And so one of the ways that we get to do that is by expressing. And one of the ways that we do that specifically is with our voices.
mhm.
So in the same way that, some of us have these blocks that keep us from using that gift, other people have other fears that keep them from swimming or going in water or going in heights. And some of those are more rational than others. Like there are certain dangers that we are wired to avoid because it allows us to survive. But somewhere in our human experience, we forget who we really are, what our true nature is. And what I love about the creative path is that for me, it's been an access to that remembering. As I go down the path of being an artist and really like inquiring into what does it mean to really fully express myself as a musician, as a songwriter, as a writer, what does it mean to really share from my heart, on that path, I get to experience all the things that are stopping me from having that experience, all the resistance, all the stories that I've collected along the way that say you don't get to be that or you don't get to have that. And so it's really a process of remembering. And yes, for a lot of us, it does show up in using our voice,
Mhm.
specifically like in the way of like vocalizing, but it's also having a voice, period, like having a
Right.
blog or having, like sharing your photography or your cooking. Like it's
Mhm.
always just some version of like, who am I to do so and so? Like, why should I get to? Because there's always going to be someone that we can like point to that's doing it better or that's further along. And so we use that as a reason to just like justify playing small.
Hmm.
and staying stuck in the lie,
Right.
which is not the truth of who we are. And essentially, we're here to remember. And the truth is, nobody can do it like you. That's what I love about
Mhm.
each of us having an instrument that's specifically attuned to our own bodies. Nobody else can create that healing for you the way that you can. And at the same time, when you're creating that healing for yourself, that's a gift to the world too, that only you can create in the specific way that you can create it. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
That makes so much sense. And it actually also too, um, I guess for me, my with this block, because I've always wanted to feel like I could use my voice more, specifically my voice, like speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily singing as much, although I do wish I was a singer, but I've let that dream go. Um,
Wow, we're not gonna let that go. That's
okay.
we'll get to that though. We'll get to that. And I
That would be awesome, actually. Um, but wow, that's crazy to think about that there's actually a possibility of that, that we
can I
can
just
create whatever we want.
Yeah, that's right. And can I just say that, like being a singer, like it takes time.
Yeah.
It's a muscle. It's a craft that, I mean, I've dedicated a long amount of hours to, being able to call myself a singer. And I've the amount of learning that I've had to go through in terms of just like real life learning. That's what's so beautiful about it, is that I learned to be a singer, but I also got to like really learn a lot of things that have totally served me in my life in general.
Hmm.
So you were saying,
Yeah, so I was just saying that because of this huge fear, which I've done some of my own practices to, move through it, there's still stuff there. um, but also because of that fear, I always had this thing in the back of my mind that thought, because I feared it so much, I almost felt like it was telling me something. Like it actually holds a lot of power and something for me to tap into and move
yes,
into, as much as it scares
yes,
me and as much as I wanted to try to convince myself that maybe you should just be a writer or maybe you should just be a housewife. I don't know. um, it's like something just kept calling me deeper into,
yes,
as uncomfortable as it has been, to just keep moving into that, just kind of slowly peeling away whatever that block is. So sometimes it feels like, as much as I could have made the excuse, and I still can make the excuse that I shouldn't be speaking and I shouldn't be doing videos and I shouldn't, anything that involves using my speaking voice, I shouldn't do. It's like, wow, that would truly be denying my me, all of me.
yes, yes, exactly. And it's just a question of giving ourselves permission. And I have no doubt that in you giving yourself permission and sharing yourself so openly and authentically the way that you have been, you're, helping others people's pilot light come on. And that little pilot light is like a little bit of a nudge to say, hey, there's something here. Maybe you want to take a look at this, or maybe you want to give this thing a try. And that's the beautiful thing about, that sort of resistance or that fear is actually pointing us in the direction of something that we really truly want. And we just bought into the illusion that we don't get to have it, or that maybe it's not for us, maybe it's for them. Or there's so many versions, like, well, if I can't do it at the highest level possible, then I might as well not even do it at all. And that's not really the point. We just get to do it because we feel like it, because it feels good. That's it.
Yes. Yes, and that has been a big part of Limitless Man, is specifically for me, because I've had already, I mean, I've only done a few conversations, and even just in those conversations, I've been like, no, I don't want to post these. Like, what was I saying? What was I
Yes.
doing? What was I thinking?
Yeah,
But something inside of me just keeps saying, you've got to just put it out there, just because that's exactly it's. And I think you said this to me when we went to coffee the other day, that it's not even so much about what we're actually saying or the words we're using, it's our where it's coming from. And that is the one thing that I know that I can trust within myself, and especially for so many of us who are committing more to our internal paths and connecting to who we truly are at the core. That is the one thing I know, that through this process and as I move along on this my journey, that I have that I know that even if it's not perfect, even if I don't say the perfect things, even if I ask stupid questions or whatever goes through our minds, I
yeah,
know that it's only coming from love, from
yes,
from just my heart of just wanting to put um I guess myself and provide space for more people to show up to be who they are. And that's what we all only, at the end of the day, that's what we all only ever have.
yes, yes, and you're absolutely right. And that's, I mean, that's a big lesson. That's a lesson that I'm still very much working on as well. I have a massive streak of perfectionism where my music is concerned and sharing. It's like I'm always waiting to make it better before I just let it out. And you know, I've been getting present to that even in the last week because I've just realized how many songs are just sitting on this device here that nobody's heard. I've just recorded all these
Wow.
ideas, and it's really it would be a travesty. That's a mix between tragedy and travesty, but
I
um,
love it. Travity.
for for those to not be shared. So I'm really, I'm inspired by you, by what you're doing, and that
Thank you.
you are just putting it out there, and there's no filter, there's no self-edit, and the way that you can really be confident in doing that is exactly what you said. It's just because where you're coming from is from your heart, and that speaks volumes. And all the perfection and the perfectly articulated blah blah blah, blah, it doesn't matter, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I really see that, and I totally believe in that as well.
And I don't know if I shared this with you, but my cousin came into Los Angeles to visit a month or two ago. And did you?
I
She
did.
You did meet her, yes. So after you met her, we went back to my place, and I was like, "You have to listen to him. He's amazing." And she has been listening to you nonstop. She bought your stuff on iTunes.
Wow.
She just loves you. Yeah, ever since she came home, she every time I talk to her, almost she talks about you. So I know that I can attest for myself and her are looking forward to more, because you're going to be putting a new album out soon, right? Or you're going to start
Well,
recording soon?
yes, that's my intention for 2014. So
Hmm.
some of these songs are gonna end up on a record of some kind. I'm
Yeah.
still very much in the writing part of
Hmm.
it, and just wanting to continue with that. Just because, not I mean, I don't know. I might be having a little bit of an internal rationalization thing happening here, but the truth is that it's a huge investment of energy and time and money to like make a record and really like give it the sort of the shot that it deserves to really be heard, especially these days when there is so much content and it is so easy for people to just put stuff out there. So my act of self-love to myself is just to make sure that whatever it is that I'm going to record next, I'm really in love with it, like
Hmm.
every song, because it will just make it so much more enjoyable to give it all of that energy and effort that it requires, and just playing those songs over and over and over again and sharing them every time with that same love and passion. So it just, yeah, I mean, it used to be, okay, write 10 songs, record the first 10 songs you have. And as I've sort of been studying some of the greats a little bit more and learning what it really looks like, it's more like write 100 songs and record the best 10. So,
Hmm.
and that's a challenge in and of itself,
Right.
because starting songs is very easy, finishing songs not so much. Um, so there's a lot of growing to be done there. That's where I'm at in terms of my artistic path, is that level of really deepening my level of mastery is in really being a finisher and going deeper into the craft of songwriting. But
Beautiful.
yes, that's a long answer to a short question, which is that there is a new record in the pipes.
I look forward to that.